You dreamed of a new life? Here it is.
The text message wasn't meant for me. That's what made it perfect. I'm staring at Jessica's phone on our kitchen counter, the screen still glowing with words that might as well be written in fire. Can't wait to feel you inside me again. David's working late as usual. The loser has no clue. My name is David Grant, and I'm apparently a loser who has no clue. Funny thing is, I thought I was just a hardworking construction project manager who loved his wife. Shows what 39 years of life experience gets you. The coffee mug in my hand, the one Jessica bought me last Christmas with "World's Best Husband" printed on it, suddenly feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. I set it down carefully, because if I don't, I might throw it through our kitchen window. Jessica's in the shower upstairs, probably washing off the scent of whoever sent this message. The contact name just says M with a heart emoji. How original. How devastatingly, soul-crushingly original. I pick up her phone with fingers that don't feel like mine anymore. The message thread goes back weeks, months. There are photos I wish I could unsee. Words that make my stomach turn inside out. Plans made around my work schedule like I'm some inconvenient piece of furniture to be worked around. "David's so pathetic in bed," reads one message from 3 days ago. "You've ruined me for missionary position forever." Another one. "He actually thinks those flowers he brought home meant something. If only he knew where I really was that night." The shower's still running upstairs. Steam probably fogging up the mirror where I shave every morning before heading out to build things that actually matter, that actually last. Unlike marriages, apparently. My hands are shaking as I scroll through more messages. This M character has opinions about everything. My truck, my job, my clothes, even the way I laugh. Jessica agrees with all of it. Adds her own observations like she's writing a field guide to my failures. "He still thinks we're trying to have kids," she wrote last week. "I've been on birth control the whole time. Can you imagine? A mini David running around?" That one hits different. We've been trying for 2 years. I've been taking vitamins, cutting back on beer, doing everything the fertility website suggested. Jessica would hold my hand during those conversations about our future family, looking me right in the eyes while lying through her teeth. The shower shuts off upstairs. I hear her singing, actually singing, some pop song about new beginnings. The irony would be funny if it wasn't destroying my life. I take photos of the message thread with my own phone. Evidence. Not sure what I'll do with it yet, but my construction background has taught me to document everything before you start tearing things down. "David, can you bring me a towel?" Jessica calls from upstairs, sweet as pie. "Sure, honey," I call back, and my voice sounds normal. Amazing what shock can do to a man's acting abilities. I grab a towel from the linen closet and head upstairs. Jessica's phone's still in my other hand. She's standing in the bathroom doorway, water dripping from her blonde hair, completely bare and completely beautiful and completely not mine anymore. "Thanks, babe." She takes the towel, kisses my cheek like she has 1,000 times before. Her lips are soft and warm and might as well be made of poison. "Jess," I say, holding out her phone. "You got a message?" She takes it without thinking, glances at the screen, and I watch her face change. It's like watching a mask slip off. The loving wife expression disappears, replaced by something calculating and cold. "It's just work stuff," she says, but her fingers are already flying across the screen, probably deleting evidence. "From M?" She freezes. Actually freezes, like a deer in headlights, except deer don't usually look guilty as heck. It's Michelle from HR. You know Michelle." "I know Michelle from HR. Michelle is 60 years old, married to the same man for 35 years, and has never sent a heart emoji in her life." Michelle definitely has never expressed opinions about missionary position. "Michelle wants to feel you inside her again?" I ask, keeping my voice conversational. Jessica's face goes white, then red, then white again. She wraps the towel around herself like armor. "David, I can explain." "I'm sure you can. You're very creative. I've been reading your work." She sits down hard on our bed, the bed where we made love just 3 nights ago, where she whispered that she loved me while apparently counting the minutes until she could text someone else about how pathetic I was. "How long?" I ask. "It's not what you think." "How long, Jessica?" She looks at her hands. 6 months. 6 months. Our anniversary was 4 months ago. We went to that expensive restaurant downtown, the one where I saved up for weeks to afford. She ordered the lobster and told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her. "Who is he?" "David, please, can we just talk about this?" "We are talking. I'm asking questions. You're giving answers. Very efficient. Who is he? Mark Newton. The name hits me like a physical blow. Mark Newton, her boss at the marketing firm. Mark Newton, who came to our Christmas party last year and complimented my truck. Mark Newton, who I shook hands with and thanked for taking such good care of my wife's career. Your boss. Yes. The married guy with 2 kids. Yes. The one who sent you flowers on Valentine's Day and said they were from the whole office. Jessica nods miserably. I sit down in the chair across from our bed, the one where I used to sit and watch her get ready for work, thinking I was the luckiest man alive. So, when you were working late all those nights, we were working, just not on marketing campaigns. And the girls' weekends? Some of them were real girls' weekends, but not all. Not all. I feel something breaking inside my chest, something that might have been my heart, or might have been my faith in basic human decency. The night you said you were helping your sister move? I was with Mark. Your sister lives in Florida, Jessica. She's lived in Florida for 10 years. I know. So that was just a stupid lie. I'm sorry. Sorry, she's sorry. Like she accidentally stepped on my foot instead of systematically destroying our marriage for half a year. Are you leaving me for him? She looks up then, and I see something in her eyes I've never seen before. Not love, not even lust. Calculation. Mark's not going to leave his wife. So I'm what? The backup plan? David, you're a good man. You deserve better than this. I deserved better than this 6 months ago. Heck, I deserved better than this when I married you. She starts crying then, but they're not the tears of a woman who's sorry. They're the tears of a woman who got caught. What do you want me to do? She asks. I look around our bedroom. The photos on the dresser of our wedding day, our honeymoon, last Christmas morning, the book on her nightstand about improving your marriage that I thought she was reading for us, the little jewelry box where she keeps the earrings I bought her for our first anniversary. All of it feels like props in a play I didn't know I was performing in. I want you to pack a bag and get out. David, come on, we can work through this. No, we can't. Couples therapy. We can try couples therapy. I almost laugh. What would we tell the therapist? That you've been lying to me for 6 months and the only reason you want to stay married is because your boyfriend won't leave his wife? It's not like that. It's exactly like that. She stands up, still clutching the towel. This is my house too. Then buy me out, or I'll buy you out. Or we'll sell it and split the money. I don't care. But you're not sleeping here tonight. Where am I supposed to go? I hear Mark's very creative. I'm sure he'll think of something. Jessica stares at me for a long moment, and I can see her trying to figure out her next move. The woman I married would have been devastated, apologetic, desperate to fix things. This woman is calculating her options. Fine, she says finally, but this isn't over. Yeah, it is. She gets dressed quickly, throws some clothes in a suitcase. I sit in the chair and watch her pack up pieces of our life together. She takes the jewelry, the expensive perfume, the designer clothes I worked overtime to help pay for. At the bedroom door, she turns back. David, I never meant for you to find out like this. How did you mean for me to find out? She doesn't have an answer for that. After she leaves, I sit in our kitchen and stare at that coffee mug. World's best husband. The joke's on me, apparently. The world's best husband gets cheated on by his wife with her married boss while she lies about wanting children. I pick up the mug and throw it against the wall as hard as I can. It explodes into a dozen pieces, coffee splashing across our white cabinets like a crimson stain. Then I start planning. The thing about construction work is it teaches you to be thorough. You don't just tear down a building. You study its structure first, figure out the load-bearing walls, understand what you're working with. Same principle applies to tearing down a life. I take a week off work, tell my foreman I've got family issues to deal with. It's not even a lie. I spend that week becoming a detective, and what I discover makes Jessica's betrayal look like amateur hour. Mark Newton isn't just cheating on his wife with Jessica. According to his social media, which he's careless enough to leave public, he's got a pattern. Photos at restaurants with colleagues who look nothing like colleagues. Comments from women that are way too friendly for business relationships. His wife, Linda, posts pictures of their 2 kids constantly. Soccer games, school plays, family vacations where Mark looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. In the recent photos, Linda's smiles look forced, like she's performing happiness for the camera. I create a fake Facebook profile. Took me about 10 minutes and a stock photo of some generic businessman, and send Linda a friend request. She accepts within an hour. Lonely wives usually do. Jessica, meanwhile, has been staying at her friend Rachel's apartment. I know this because she's been posting Instagram stories from Rachel's recognizable kitchen. She's playing the victim, sharing quotes about new beginnings and finding your strength after betrayal. The betrayal part is rich, considering she's the one who did the betraying. But the real discovery comes when I'm going through our joint bank account statements. Jessica's been spending money I didn't know about. Expensive hotels on days when she claimed to be working late. Charges at Victoria's Secret when she hasn't bought me anything intimate in months. A payment to a clinic I don't recognize. I call the clinic, pretend to be following up on my wife's appointment. The receptionist is helpful. Too helpful. "Oh, yes, Mrs. Grant. How are you feeling after the procedure? Any side effects from the birth control implant?" Birth control implant. Not just pills that she could have been forgetting to take. An implant that lasts for years. I hang up and stare at our bedroom ceiling. 2 years of trying for a baby. 2 years of me taking vitamins and cutting back on beer and timing everything perfectly. 2 years of Jessica holding my hand and saying maybe next month, while she had a piece of plastic in her arm, making sure that next month would never come. That's when I decide that simply divorcing Jessica isn't enough. My phone rings. Eddie Kowalski, my best friend since high school and the closest thing to a brother I've got. "Dave, man, I heard about Jessica. Rachel's been running her mouth all over town." "What's she saying?" "That you went crazy, threw her out for no reason, that you've been controlling and jealous and she finally couldn't take it anymore." Of course that's the story. Poor Jessica, trapped in a marriage with a controlling husband who couldn't appreciate what he had. "You want to grab a beer and talk about it?" Eddie asks. "Yeah, actually, I want to ask you a favor. We meet at Murphy's, the dive bar where we've been drinking since we were old enough to get served. Eddie's already there when I arrive, nursing a Budweiser and looking concerned. "You look like heck," he says by way of greeting. "Feel like it too." I order a whiskey, neat. "Eddie, I need you to do something for me, and I need you to not ask questions." "Okay. I need you to follow Jessica and take pictures." Eddie raises an eyebrow. "Dave, that's some stalker-level stuff. She's still my wife, legally, and I need evidence for the divorce. Hire a private investigator? Can't afford one. Lost half my savings when she cleaned out our joint account yesterday." That's not entirely true. I moved most of our money to a separate account before she could get to it, but Eddie doesn't need to know that. "What kind of pictures?" "Her and Mark together. Anywhere that's not work. Anything that proves they're having an affair." Eddie drinks his beer and considers this. "You sure you want to go down this road? Sometimes it's better to just let things go." "She's been lying to me for 6 months, Eddie. She's been on birth control the whole time we were trying to have kids. She told everyone in town that I'm controlling and toxic. I'm not letting this go." "All right, but I'm not doing anything illegal. Just taking pictures in public places. Perfectly legal." Eddie agrees, and we shake on it. He's got a good camera from his hobby photography days, and he knows how to be invisible when he wants to be. Growing up poor in this town teaches you how to observe without being observed. The next morning, I drive to Mark's office building and park across the street. I'm not following anyone or taking pictures, just sitting in my truck, drinking coffee, watching the world go by. It's amazing what you notice when you're paying attention. Mark drives a silver BMW license plate MN 2019. Probably stands for Mark Newton because guys like Mark are that predictable. He parks in the executive section, walks into the building like he owns it. Jessica's car, my old Honda that I gave her when we got married, pulls up 20 minutes later. She parks in the regular employee section and hurries inside, checking her phone constantly. I follow them to lunch. They meet at a restaurant downtown, sit in a corner booth, hold hands across the table. Mark pays with a credit card, probably tells his wife it was a business lunch. Jessica laughs at something he says, throws her head back the way she used to laugh at my jokes. They don't see me sitting at the bar, eating a sandwich and watching their reflection in the mirror behind the bartender. After lunch, they walk to Mark's car together. He puts his hand on the small of her back, opens the passenger door for her. They drive to a hotel on the outskirts of town, the kind of place that rents rooms by the hour and doesn't ask questions. I don't follow them inside. I don't need to. I just take a picture of Mark's BMW in the hotel parking lot, timestamp clearly visible on my phone. This goes on for 3 days. Same routine, same hotel, same smug expressions on their faces when they come back out. On the 4th day, Eddie calls. "I got your pictures," he says. "And Dave, you're not going to like them." We meet at his apartment. Eddie's got his laptop set up on the kitchen table, memory card from his camera already inserted. I followed them yesterday evening, he says. They went to dinner at Romano's. Romano's, the expensive Italian place where Jessica and I went for our anniversary. Then they went back to her friend Rachel's apartment. The photos are crystal clear. Jessica and Mark holding hands over dinner, Mark feeding Jessica a bite of dessert, the two of them kissing in the parking lot outside Rachel's building. But the last photo is the one that makes my blood boil. Mark's got Jessica pressed against the side of his BMW, his hands tangled in her hair, kissing her like he's trying to devour her. She's got her legs wrapped around his waist, her dress hiked up, and the expression on her face is pure lust. It's the way she used to look at me, back when she actually wanted me. There's more, Eddie says quietly. The next photos are from this morning. Jessica and Mark at a coffee shop, looking at something on his phone, both of them laughing. I got close enough to hear part of their conversation, Eddie says. They were looking at apartments. Apartments? Jessica's moving in with him. He's leaving his wife. So much for Mark not being willing to leave his marriage. Apparently, Jessica's worth more than I gave her credit for. When? End of the month. They were talking about signing a lease this weekend. I stare at the photos until my eyes burn. Jessica's moving on with her life, upgrading to a richer man with a better car and a corner office. In her mind, she's the winner here. Dave, maybe it's time to just let the lawyers handle this. No. I close the laptop. It's time to get creative. What do you mean? I look at my best friend, this guy who's had my back since we were kids getting into trouble behind the grocery store. Eddie, how do you feel about a little payback? He grins. What did you have in mind? The beautiful thing about Mark Newton is that he's predictable. Successful men usually are. They find a routine that works and stick to it like their lives depend on it. Mark gets his coffee at the same place every morning, eats lunch at the same 3 restaurants, goes to the same gym every Tuesday and Thursday. More importantly, he's careless. Guys who've never faced real consequences usually are. I spend a week learning Mark's patterns while Eddie keeps tabs on Jessica. She's still playing the victim on social media, but her posts are getting more confident. Pictures of expensive dinners, new clothes, spa days. The wronged wife is living pretty well for someone who's supposedly devastated by her marriage falling apart. The plan starts simple. I create an email account using Mark's name and a slightly different domain. Instead of his company's .com, I use .co. Close enough to fool anyone not paying attention. Then I send an email to Linda Newton. Linda, I think we need to talk. There are some things about Mark you should know. Meet me at Starbucks on 5th Street tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. A friend. I don't sign it with Mark's name, but I send it from the fake account. If she's suspicious, she'll think twice. If she's desperate for answers about her husband's behavior, she'll show up. She shows up. Linda Newton is prettier than her photo suggested, but she looks tired. The kind of tired that comes from pretending everything's fine when your world is falling apart. She orders a large coffee and sits in the corner, checking her phone every 30 seconds. I wait 15 minutes before approaching her table. Linda? She looks up confused. Yes? I'm David Grant. I sent you the email. Her face changes. You're not Mark. No, I'm not, but we have something in common. We're both married to cheaters. She stares at me for a long moment, then gestures to the empty chair across from her. Sit down. I sit. Linda Newton up close is even more tired than she looked from across the coffee shop. There are dark circles under her eyes that makeup can't quite hide, and her wedding ring looks loose on her finger. Your wife is sleeping with my husband, she says. It's not a question. For 6 months, yeah, maybe longer. I know about Jessica. I've known for a while. This surprises me. You know, Mark's not as clever as he thinks he is. Late nights at work, mysterious phone calls, credit card charges at hotels. She sips her coffee. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I want them to face some consequences, such as, I pull out my phone and show her the photos Eddie took. Linda looks at each one carefully, her expression never changing. These are very clear, she says finally. Clear enough for a divorce lawyer. Clear enough for a lot of things. She hands my phone back. What's your plan? I'm still working on that part. Linda smiles, and it's not a nice smile. I might have some ideas. We talk for 2 hours. Linda Newton, it turns out, is not the helpless wife I expected. She's a paralegal who's been married to Mark for 12 years and has been documenting his affairs for the last 3. Jessica isn't his first mistress, just his most serious one. He usually gets bored after a few months. Linda explains. But Jessica's different. He's actually talking about leaving me for her. Are you going to let him? Oh, he can leave, but he's not taking half of everything I've worked for, and he's definitely not getting custody of my children. Linda's got evidence I never dreamed of. Bank records showing Mark's been using company funds to pay for hotel rooms. Photos of him with other women going back years. Even a recording of him on the phone with Jessica, talking about how stupid his wife is for not figuring out what's going on. Why haven't you used any of this? I ask. I was waiting for the right moment. Divorce is expensive, and I wanted to make sure I had enough to destroy him completely. She looks at the photos on my phone again. I think the right moment just arrived. We make a deal. Linda will help me get revenge on Jessica and Mark, and I'll help her get everything she wants in the divorce. She's got the legal knowledge, I've got the motivation, and together we've got enough evidence to bury both of them. First things first, Linda says. We need to separate them. Mark's more vulnerable when he's not thinking with his Johnson. How do we do that? Leave that to me. The next morning, Linda calls Mark's office and tells his secretary that there's been a family emergency. Mark's father has had a heart attack and is in the hospital 3 hours away. Mark needs to come home immediately so they can drive up together. It's a complete lie, but Mark doesn't know that. He cancels his afternoon meetings, including his usual hotel rendezvous with Jessica, and rushes home to deal with the fake emergency. Jessica, meanwhile, is left sitting in the hotel parking lot for 2 hours, wondering why her boyfriend stood her up. While Mark's driving around looking for a hospital emergency that doesn't exist, I'm breaking into his office. Not literally breaking in, that would be illegal. But Mark's secretary, Carol, has known me for years, from company Christmas parties and office events when Jessica and I were happy. When I show up with a sob story about needing to get some personal items that Jessica left in Mark's office, Carol lets me in without question. I'm so sorry about what happened with you and Jessica, Carol says, unlocking Mark's door. Office affairs never end well. You knew? Carol gives me a look like I'm incredibly naive. Honey, everyone knew. The whole building's been talking about it for months. Great. So while I was working 60-hour weeks and thinking I had a solid marriage, Jessica and Mark were providing entertainment for an entire office building. Mark's office is exactly what you'd expect from a guy who drives a BMW and cheats on his wife. Expensive furniture, motivational posters, photos of himself playing golf with clients. There's a picture of Linda and the kids on his desk, but it's turned slightly away, like he doesn't want to look at it while he's working. I don't take anything. I don't plant anything. I just use Mark's computer to send a few emails. The first one goes to Jessica. Can't meet today. Linda's getting suspicious, and I need to be more careful. Maybe we should take a break for a while. M. The second one goes to Linda. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. M. The third one goes to Mark's biggest client, using Mark's email account. After thinking about it more, I don't think our companies are a good fit. I'd recommend you find someone else to handle your marketing needs. Mark Newton. I delete the sent emails from Mark's computer and leave his office exactly as I found it. Carol waves goodbye as I leave, still sympathetic about my marriage falling apart. By evening, the chaos has started. Jessica calls me, crying. Mark's pulling away from her. She doesn't understand what happened. She thinks maybe his wife found out about them. I don't know why you're calling me, I tell her. Call your boyfriend. David, please, I know I screwed up, but I need someone to talk to. Talk to Rachel. Talk to your mother. Talk to a therapist. Don't talk to me. I hang up. An hour later, Mark calls Jessica back, furious. His biggest client just fired him via email, and he's blaming her for being a distraction. They have a screaming fight that half the hotel can probably hear. Linda texts me updates throughout the evening. Mark came home ranting about work problems. Didn't even ask about his father. The next morning, Mark discovers that his father is fine and never had a heart attack. Linda plays innocent. She must have misunderstood the phone call. She was so worried. She's sorry for the confusion. Mark's suspicious but can't prove anything. He goes to work to find his biggest client has fired him. His girlfriend is mad at him, and his wife is acting strange. Jessica, meanwhile, is spiraling. She calls in sick to work, spends the day at Rachel's apartment eating ice cream and posting cryptic messages about when the people you trust let you down. The irony is delicious, but we're just getting started. Phase 2, Linda texts me. Time to turn up the heat. Linda Newton is a woman with a plan, and her plan is beautiful in its simplicity. While Mark's dealing with work problems and Jessica's drowning in self-pity, Linda's been busy. She's hired a private investigator, a real one, not just Eddie with a camera. She's opened her own bank account and started moving money. She's made copies of everything in Mark's home office, including files he probably doesn't remember keeping. Most importantly, she's made friends with Jessica's mother. Diane Harrington and I have been having coffee, Linda tells me when we meet at a different Starbucks across town. She's very concerned about Jessica's recent behavior. Diane Harrington is Jessica's mother, a woman who never liked me because I wasn't good enough for her precious daughter. Apparently, she likes Mark even less. What did you tell her? The truth, that Mark's a serial cheater who's going to break Jessica's heart and leave her with nothing. Linda sips her latte. Diane's old-fashioned. She doesn't approve of adultery, even when her daughter's the one committing it. This is news to me. I always assumed Jessica's family would support her no matter what she did. Diane's cutting off Jessica's credit cards, Linda continues, the ones tied to her parents' account. She's also told Jessica that she's not welcome at home until she comes to her senses and stops acting like a tramp. I almost feel sorry for Jessica. Almost. There's more, Linda says. I had lunch with Mark's boss yesterday. You what? Richard Conway and I go way back. Our kids played soccer together for years. Linda's smile is sharp as a knife. I mentioned that Mark's been having some personal problems lately and that his work performance might be suffering because of it. What did Conway say? He said he'd been wondering why Mark lost the Henderson account. Apparently, there have been other complaints too. Clients saying Mark seems distracted, unprofessional. The Henderson account. That was Mark's biggest client, the one I made him lose with a fake email. But apparently there have been other problems I didn't even know about. Conway's putting Mark on probation, Linda says. One more screw-up and he's fired. While Linda's been destroying Mark's professional life, I've been working on Jessica's social circle. It's amazing how quickly friends turn on you when they realize you've been lying to them. Rachel, Jessica's best friend and current roommate, has been getting anonymous emails with photos of Jessica and Mark together. Not from me, I'm not that stupid. But Eddie's got a cousin who's good with computers and doesn't ask questions. The emails come from different accounts, made to look like they're from other friends who are concerned about Rachel getting involved in Jessica's drama. The message is always the same. Jessica is using Rachel as a cover for her affair, and when everything blows up, Rachel's going to look like an accomplice. Rachel confronts Jessica about it on a Tuesday evening. I know this because Jessica calls me sobbing at 11 p.m. Rachel kicked me out, she cries into the phone. She says I've been using her and lying to her friends. David, I don't have anywhere to go. Call Mark. I can't. We had a fight. He says I'm being too clingy, that I need to give him space to deal with his work problems. Mark's work problems? The ones that started when I sent that email to his biggest client. The ones that are getting worse every day as Linda plants seeds of doubt about his competence. Jessica, why are you calling me? Because you're my husband? No, I'm not. I'm the guy you cheated on for 6 months while lying about wanting to have children. I'm the guy you told your friends was controlling and toxic. I'm the guy you're divorcing so you can be with your boss. I never said you were toxic. Rachel's been telling people that for weeks. That's not... I didn't tell her to say that. But you didn't tell her not to say it either. Jessica is quiet for a long moment. David, I made mistakes, but we can work through this. No, we can't. I'll end things with Mark. I'll do whatever you want. I want you to face the consequences of your choices. I hang up. Jessica spends that night in her car, parked outside a 24-hour diner, posting Instagram stories about being homeless and heartbroken. The sympathy she gets is limited. Most of our mutual friends have heard about the affair by now, and public opinion isn't on her side. Mark, meanwhile, is dealing with his own problems. Linda's been a perfect wife all week, supportive and understanding about his work stress, never mentioning the mysterious family emergency that wasn't actually an emergency. But she's also been asking questions. How was your day, honey? She asks over dinner, while their kids do homework at the kitchen table. Terrible. Conway's breathing down my neck about everything. I'm sure it's just temporary. You're so good at your job. I used to be. Lately, I can't seem to do anything right. Maybe you're distracted by something. Mark looks up from his plate. What do you mean? I don't know. You've seemed stressed for months, distant, like your mind is somewhere else. Work's been crazy. I know, all those late nights, weekend meetings, you're working so hard. Mark nods, not realizing that Linda knows exactly where he's been during those late nights and weekend meetings. Maybe you should take some time off. Linda suggests. We could go away for a weekend, just the two of us. I can't, not with everything that's going on at work. Of course, work comes first. Linda's playing the long game, being so understanding and supportive that Mark's starting to feel guilty. Not guilty enough to confess, but guilty enough to be uncomfortable. Jessica, meanwhile, has found a new place to stay. Mark's paying for a hotel room for her, which Linda discovers when she checks their credit card statement. He's spending $300 a night to keep his mistress in a hotel, Linda tells me over the phone, while telling me we need to cut back on expenses because of his work problems. Are you going to confront him? Not yet. I want him to dig the hole deeper first. The hole gets deeper the next day, when Mark's secretary Carol lets slip to the wrong person that Mark's been having personal meetings with Jessica Grant during work hours. The wrong person turns out to be Richard Conway's assistant, who mentions it to Conway during their morning meeting. Conway calls Mark into his office that afternoon. We need to talk about your relationship with Jessica Grant, Conway says. Mark goes pale. What relationship? The one where you've been using company time and resources to conduct a personal affair? I don't know what you're talking about. Conway slides a folder across his desk. It contains photos, credit card receipts, and a detailed timeline of Mark's activities over the past 6 months. This is what you're talking about, Conway says. And this is your termination notice. Mark gets fired on a Thursday afternoon. He cleans out his office while the entire building watches, carrying his personal belongings in a cardboard box like a cliché from a movie. Jessica finds out when she calls his office, and Carol tells her that Mark no longer works there. She calls Mark's cell phone, but he doesn't answer. She calls the hotel where he's been paying for her room, but his credit card has been declined. By evening, Jessica's sitting in the hotel lobby, her suitcases beside her, calling everyone she knows to ask for help. She calls me last. David, please, I know you hate me, but I'm desperate. What happened to Mark? He got fired. Something about our relationship being inappropriate. The hotel won't let me stay because his credit card doesn't work anymore. So call him. He's not answering his phone. I think he's avoiding me. Of course he is. Mark's got bigger problems now than keeping his mistress happy. He's got a wife who's been documenting his affairs for years, a boss who fired him for misconduct, and a professional reputation that's in ruins. Jessica's just collateral damage. I can't help you, I tell her. Please, just one night. I'll sleep on the couch. I won't bother you. I just need somewhere to stay until I figure things out. Figure what out? How to fix this? You can't fix this, Jessica. You broke it. You broke all of it. I know. I know I screwed up, but I'm still your wife. Not for much longer. I hang up and turn off my phone. Jessica spends that night in her car again, parked outside a different 24-hour diner, posting increasingly desperate messages on social media. The responses get fewer and less sympathetic each time. Mark spends the night drinking alone in his garage, avoiding Linda's questions about why he came home early with a box of office supplies. Linda spends the night making final preparations for the divorce papers she's going to file in the morning. And I spend the night planning the final phase of my revenge, because we're not done yet, not even close. Friday morning brings news that changes everything. Linda calls me at 6 a.m., her voice tight with controlled fury. Mark tried to clean out our bank accounts last night. Tried? I moved most of the money yesterday, but he got about $15,000 from our checking account before the bank froze everything. Where is he now? Gone. Left sometime after midnight. Took his clothes and his car, and disappeared. Mark Newton, it turns out, is not the type of man who faces consequences gracefully. When confronted with the reality of losing his job, his wife, and his comfortable life, he chose to run. Any idea where he went? I have some theories. But David, there's something else. He took Jessica with him. This stops me cold. What? I drove by the hotel this morning. Her car's gone. I called the front desk. She checked out around midnight. So Mark and Jessica have run away together, leaving behind their spouses, their jobs, and their responsibilities. It's almost romantic, in a pathetic, destructive way. Did he leave the kids? Oh yes, left them sleeping in their beds while he snuck out like a thief. Linda's voice could cut glass. 12 years of marriage, 2 children, and he leaves a note on the kitchen counter like he's canceling a dinner reservation. I drive over to Linda's house. It's a nice place in the suburbs, the kind of house that says, successful family to the neighbors. Linda meets me at the door, still in her bathrobe, holding a coffee mug that says world's best mom. The irony of the mug isn't lost on me. The note, Linda says, handing me a piece of paper. Mark's handwriting is neat, precise, the penmanship of a man who's used to signing important documents. Linda, I'm sorry it came to this, but I can't live a lie anymore. Jessica and I are starting over somewhere new. I'll send money for the kids when I can. Don't try to find us. Mark, don't try to find us, I read aloud, like they're star-crossed lovers instead of two cheaters running away from their problems. The money he stole will last them maybe a month if they're careful, Linda says. Less if they're not. What's your plan? Linda's smile is sharp enough to cut diamonds. I'm going to destroy them. She's already started. By the time I arrived, Linda had called Mark's credit card companies and reported the cards stolen. She'd called his parents, his siblings, and his closest friends to let them know that Mark had abandoned his children. She'd posted a message on Facebook explaining that Mark had left his family for another woman and asking people not to help him if he came looking for money or shelter. I also called Jessica's mother, Linda adds. How did that go? Diane Harrington is a religious woman who believes in the sanctity of marriage. When I told her that Jessica had run away with a married father of two, she was displeased. Displeased turns out to be an understatement. By noon, Jessica's mother has posted her own Facebook message, disowning her daughter and asking their church community to pray for Jessica's lost soul. The social media response is swift and brutal. Jessica and Mark's affair, which had been local gossip, becomes a public scandal. Friends, family members, and co-workers share the posts, adding their own commentary about betrayal, abandonment, and moral failure. But Linda's not finished. I called Mark's new boss, she tells me over lunch. His new boss? He had a job interview scheduled for Monday, a marketing position with a firm in the next city over. Had it all lined up before he got fired? Had. Not anymore. I called the hiring manager and explained that Mark had been terminated for conducting an affair with a subordinate and that he'd abandoned his children to run away with his mistress. Linda cuts her sandwich with surgical precision. They withdrew the job offer. While Linda's been systematically destroying Mark's future prospects, I've been dealing with the present. Jessica left behind more than just her responsibilities when she ran away with Mark. She left behind debts. Our joint credit card, the one I'd forgotten about, has been maxed out. $5,000 in charges over the past week, including the hotel room, expensive dinners, and what looks like a shopping spree for new clothes. I call the credit card company and explain that my estranged wife has been using the card without permission. They freeze the account immediately and start a fraud investigation. Jessica and Mark, wherever they are, just lost their primary source of funding. My phone rings at 3 p.m. Unknown number. David, it's Jessica. Her voice sounds small, scared. The confident woman who'd been posting Instagram stories about new beginnings is gone. Where are you? I can't tell you that. Why are you calling me? Our credit card was declined. The hotel says we have to pay cash or leave. So pay cash. We don't have enough cash. Ask Mark. He's the one with the fancy job and the expensive car. Mark doesn't have a job anymore, and we had to sell the car. They sold Mark's BMW. The symbol of his success, the car he was so proud of, traded in for cash to fund their romantic getaway. Jessica, why are you calling me? I need help. No, you don't. You need to face the consequences of your choices. David, please. I know I hurt you, but I'm scared. Mark's been drinking, and he's angry all the time. He blames me for everything that happened. Maybe because it is your fault. Not all of it. He made choices too. Yes, he did, and now you both get to live with them. I want to come home. The words hang in the air between us like a challenge. Home to what? You don't have a job anymore. I called your boss and told him about the affair. You don't have friends. They all know what you did. You don't have family. Your mother disowned you on Facebook. You don't have a husband. I filed for divorce yesterday. You filed for divorce? Did you think I was going to wait around for you to come back from your romantic adventure? Jessica starts crying. David, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of having someone to take care of you when your boyfriend turns out to be a coward who runs away from his problems. That's not true. Isn't it? When things were good with Mark, when he had money and a job and was buying you expensive dinners, you didn't want anything to do with me. Now that he's broke and angry and blaming you for his problems, suddenly you remember that you have a husband. I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted. You knew exactly what you wanted. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You wanted the stability of being married to me and the excitement of sleeping with your boss. You wanted to keep me as backup while you tried to upgrade to someone richer. I never thought of it like that. How did you think of it? Jessica is quiet for a long moment. I thought I deserved better. Better than what? Better than being married to a construction worker who drives an old truck and shops at Walmart. There it is, the truth, finally. Well, congratulations, I tell her. You traded the construction worker for an unemployed marketing executive who abandoned his children and stole money from his wife. That's definitely an upgrade. David, please. Please what? Please take you back so you don't have to face the consequences of your choices? Please pretend the last 6 months never happened? Please ignore the fact that you think I'm beneath you? I don't think you're beneath me. You just said you deserved better than being married to me. I was wrong. No, you were honest. For the first time since I've known you, you were completely honest about how you feel. I can hear Mark's voice in the background, asking who Jessica's talking to. She covers the phone, but I can still make out their conversation. It's David, she says. Hang up, Mark replies. We don't need him. We don't have any money. We'll figure something out. Jessica comes back on the line. David, I have to go. Yeah, you do, and don't call me again. I hang up and immediately block her number. That evening, Linda calls with an update. I found them, she says. Where? Motel outside of Cleveland. Mark used his debit card to buy gas this morning. Idiot doesn't realize I still get alerts for all his accounts. What are you going to do? I'm going to let them stay lost for a while. Let them figure out what life is like when you don't have money, jobs, or people who care about you. Linda pauses. But I did call the police. The police? Mark stole $15,000 from our joint account. That's felony theft. I filed a report this afternoon. Will they arrest him? Eventually, but not right away. I want him to suffer a little first. Linda Newton, I realize, is a woman who understands revenge. There's something else, she continues. I hired a lawyer, the best divorce attorney in the state. We're going to take Mark for everything he's worth. What about custody? Mark abandoned his children to run away with his mistress. What judge is going to give him custody? And Jessica? What about her? Are you going to go after her too? Linda considers this. Jessica's already destroyed. She lost her husband, her job, her family, her friends. She's stuck in a cheap motel with a man who's realizing that she's not worth everything he gave up for her. Linda's voice is satisfied. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people live with their choices. She's right. Jessica and Mark thought they were upgrading their lives by choosing each other. Instead, they've lost everything that mattered and gained nothing but each other's company in a motel room that smells like disinfectant and broken dreams. But I'm not quite finished with them yet. 3 weeks later, Jessica calls me from a different number. I don't recognize it, so I answer. David, it's me. I thought I told you not to call me. I'm at the police station. This gets my attention. What happened? They arrested Mark for stealing money from Linda. I need someone to come get me. Call a taxi. I don't have any money. Call your mother. She won't talk to me. Call Rachel. She blocked my number. Jessica has run out of people willing to help her. The woman who once had a husband, a boyfriend, family, friends, and a job is now sitting in a police station with no money and no one to call except the man she betrayed. Jessica, I'm not coming to get you. Please, I have nowhere else to go. That's not my problem anymore. I know you hate me, but I'm desperate. I don't hate you, I tell her, and I realize it's true. I feel sorry for you. Then help me. I am helping you. I'm letting you figure out how to solve your own problems instead of expecting someone else to do it for you. David, I'll do anything. I'll sign whatever divorce papers you want. I'll give you everything. You don't have anything to give me. You threw it all away. I hang up. 2 hours later, my phone rings again. Different number. This is Mark Newton. I need to talk to you. Mark's voice sounds different, smaller. The confident businessman is gone, replaced by someone who sounds defeated. What do you want, Mark? I want to make a deal. What kind of deal? I'll give you information about Jessica, things she said about you, things she did. In exchange, you help me out with something. I don't want information about Jessica. I already know everything I need to know. She was planning to leave you anyway, Mark continues, desperate. Before she met me, she told me she was only staying married to you for the financial security. Mark, I don't care. She laughed about you, called you a loser, said you were too stupid to figure out what was going on. Are you trying to make me angry? I'm trying to make you see that she used both of us. She used you? You're a 45-year-old man who abandoned his children to run away with a married woman. Nobody used you. You made your choices. Look, I know I screwed up, but Jessica's not innocent in this. I never said she was. Then help me. Help you what? I need bail money. I start laughing. I can't help it. Mark Newton, who used to drive a BMW and wear expensive suits and take my wife to fancy hotels, is calling me from jail to ask for money. You want me to bail you out? It's just $5,000. I'll pay you back. With what money? I'll get a job. Who's going to hire you? You were fired for sleeping with a subordinate. You stole money from your wife and you abandoned your children. That's not exactly a resume that opens doors. David, please, I'm desperate. I know, that's the point. I hang up. Mark calls back immediately. I don't answer. Jessica calls an hour later from another new number. I don't answer that either. They call 6 more times that evening from different numbers, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails. I delete them all without listening. The next morning, Linda calls with news. Mark's still in jail. Couldn't make bail. What about Jessica? She's staying at a homeless shelter downtown, the kind of place she used to drive past without looking. The image of Jessica Grant, who used to shop at expensive stores and get weekly manicures and complain that our house wasn't big enough, sleeping in a homeless shelter is almost too perfect. How long do you think Mark will stay in jail? His bail hearing is next week. If he can't come up with the money, he'll stay there until trial. And then? Felony theft conviction, probably 2 to 5 years in prison. What about the divorce? My lawyer says it's the easiest case he's ever handled. Adultery, abandonment, theft. Mark's not going to get anything. Linda sounds satisfied, and she should be. She's won completely. Mark will go to prison, she'll get everything in the divorce, and she'll have sole custody of their children. What about you? Linda asks. How's your divorce going? Jessica's not contesting anything. She can't afford a lawyer, and she knows she doesn't have a case. When will it be final? Next month. And then what? It's a good question. I've spent so much time focused on revenge that I haven't thought much about what comes after. I guess I'll figure out how to be single again. You're still young, you'll find someone better. Maybe. Right now, I just want to focus on my work. The construction business? Actually, I'm starting my own company. Bought out my old boss last week. It's true. While Jessica and Mark were destroying their lives, I was building mine. The revenge plot gave me focus, purpose, and most importantly, it kept me busy while I worked through the anger and betrayal. Now that they're both facing the consequences of their choices, I can focus on my future. That's wonderful, Linda says. What are you going to call it? Grant Construction, simple and straightforward. I like it. When you're ready to start dating again, I know some nice single women. Thanks, but I think I'll take a break from relationships for a while. Probably wise. That afternoon, I'm at my new office, a small space above a hardware store, but it's mine, when someone knocks on the door. It's Jessica. She looks terrible. Her hair is unwashed, her clothes are wrinkled, and she's lost weight. The woman who used to spend an hour getting ready every morning looks like she's been living on the street, which I suppose she has been. How did you find me? Eddie told me where your office was. I make a mental note to have words with Eddie about giving out my location. What do you want? I want to apologize. Okay, you've apologized. Now leave. David, please just give me 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. Jessica sits in the folding chair across from my desk and looks around the small office. This is nice, she says. It's a start. I heard you bought the construction company. News travels fast. I'm proud of you. No, you're not. If you were proud of me, you wouldn't have cheated on me with your boss. Jessica looks at her hands. I know I hurt you. Yes, you did. I know I can't undo what I did. No, you can't. But I want you to know that I regret everything. Every lie, every time I betrayed you, every moment I took you for granted. Jessica, why are you here? Because I love you. No, you don't. I do. I know I didn't act like it, but I do love you. You love the idea of having someone take care of you. That's not the same thing. That's not true. Isn't it? When did you realize you loved me? Was it when Mark had money and a job and was taking you to expensive restaurants? Or was it when he got fired and arrested and left you with nothing? Jessica starts crying. I know how it looks. It looks like you only want me back because your upgrade didn't work out. Maybe that's how it started, but being without you, seeing what I threw away, I realize now that you were the best thing in my life. I was the most convenient thing in your life. There's a difference. David, please. I'll do anything to make this right. There's nothing you can do. It's over. What if I got help, therapy, counseling, whatever you want? What if you had gotten help 6 months ago before you started sleeping with your boss? I should have. I know that now. Jessica, you made your choice. You chose Mark over me. You chose lies over honesty. You chose to throw away our marriage for a few months of excitement with a man who turned out to be a coward. I made a mistake. You made a series of deliberate choices over a period of 6 months. That's not a mistake, that's a pattern. Jessica wipes her eyes. So there's no chance? No way we could try again? I look at this woman I used to love, this person I shared a bed with and made plans with and thought I'd grow old with. She's broken now, defeated, facing the consequences of her choices, and I feel nothing. Not anger, not love, not even pity. Just nothing. No, I tell her. There's no chance. Jessica nods like she expected this answer. What am I supposed to do now? Figure it out. You're an adult. I don't have anywhere to go. That's not my problem. I don't have any money. Get a job. Who's going to hire me? Someone will. Maybe not the job you want, but someone will hire you. David, I'm scared. You should be. You threw away everything that mattered for a man who abandoned you the moment things got difficult. Now you get to live with that choice. Jessica stands up slowly. I guess this is goodbye. Yeah, it is. She walks to the door, then turns back. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry you lost everything. Sorry you have to face consequences. But you're not sorry you did it. If Mark had kept his job and left his wife for you, you'd be planning your new life with him right now. That's not true. Yes, it is. And we both know it. Jessica leaves without another word. I watch from my office window as she walks down the street, her shoulders hunched against the cold. She looks lost, defeated, like someone who finally understands that actions have consequences. My phone rings. It's Linda. I just wanted to let you know. Mark pled guilty. He'll be sentenced next week, but his lawyer says he's looking at 3 years minimum. What about Jessica? What about her? Is she facing any charges? For what? Being stupid isn't illegal. Linda's right. Jessica's punishment isn't going to come from the legal system. It's going to come from having to rebuild her life from nothing, with no money, no job, no family support, and a reputation that follows her everywhere. Linda, can I ask you something? Do you ever feel bad about what we did to them? Linda considers this. David, they destroyed their own lives. We just helped them do it faster. Is that how you see it? That's exactly how I see it. Mark chose to cheat on me. Jessica chose to cheat on you. They chose to lie, to steal, to abandon their responsibilities. We didn't make those choices for them. But we made sure they faced consequences for those choices. Yes, we did, and I'm proud of that. After Linda hangs up, I sit in my small office and think about the last few months. The discovery of Jessica's affair, the partnership with Linda, the systematic destruction of Mark and Jessica's lives. Do I feel guilty about it? No. Do I feel satisfied? Not exactly. What I feel is free. Free from the woman who betrayed me, free from the lies and deception, free from a marriage that was built on false foundations. Jessica and Mark thought they were upgrading their lives by choosing each other. Instead, they lost everything and gained nothing but each other's company and their misery. They got exactly what they deserved. And I got exactly what I needed. The chance to start over, to build something real and lasting, to find out who I am when I'm not being lied to and taken for granted. My phone buzzes with a text from Eddie. Beer tonight? I'm buying. I text back, sure, but we're celebrating, not drowning sorrows. What are we celebrating? New beginnings? I lock up my office and head out into the evening. Tomorrow I'll start building my new life, one honest day at a time. Tonight I'm going to have a beer with my best friend and toast the end of the worst chapter of my life. Jessica and Mark are somewhere in this city, facing the consequences of their choices, learning what it means to lose everything for a few months of selfish pleasure. And I'm free. Finally, completely, utterly free.